Got a 5 horsepower Baldor motor that is just humming, so I'm gonna open it up and see if maybe it burnt out or the high-speed switch is just stuck. So I'm trying to take the back part of it off first, and there's 4 bolts or 4 nuts that you have to take off, and it's 7/16 that I use to take it off. So now I'm gonna pull the back cover off and see what's going on. So I got it split open. All that I did was I put a flathead screwdriver on the edge, then I hit the screwdriver with the flat rubber with the rotor mallet, trying to separate it all the way through. Okay, so I got the motor split open. There's a lot of grease in there, but I don't know if you guys can see. It looks like this one is working correctly, because this here would push up against this, so the motor would start, and then as it gets to the high speed, this piece should get sucked in, and then these should come up, but this one is stuck down. It looks like maybe it slipped over and got bent. So I'm gonna try to crimp it right here, bend it a little bit so that it's coming up, so that then it's getting pushed up from that switch. It's getting pushed down, and then it'll come up on its own. I'm gonna clean up some of this grease that's in here. There is quite a bit of grease, so I'm gonna clean all that up, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned up some of the grease. I'm gonna grease it back up, but all that grease was kind of old. It was all like solid now. Didn't even feel like grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand down, or not sand down, but like polish the contacts that are right here, and the other one's over here. I went ahead and I already bent this piece so that it comes up on its own. So I'm gonna polish the inside as well. I don't know if you guys can see, it's a little charred up in there. So we're gonna polish that piece up on right there on the bottom of it, and also on the top of it. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. Okay, so I got them contacts back in. You can see now they go down on their own, come up on their own. Well, not down on their own, but they come up on their own. This is not binding at all. So I'm hoping that this will fix it. I'm gonna put it all back together now. I'm gonna grease it up, and then I'm gonna try to connect it and start it. If that's not it, then everything in here looks pretty good. Nothing looks burnt. I mean, there's grease on here, but nothing looks burnt. You can still see all the copper looks fine everywhere that I can tell. The only other thing that it could be would be one of the starters that are up here. So if that's what it is, then if this didn't fix it, then I will go ahead and take it apart and test them and see what the problem might be. Okay, so we got it all back together. I would probably suggest that you make a mark somewhere up here, because it was kind of hard getting it all to, you know, fit into place, but we got it. So now we're just gonna grease it and see how it goes. Okay guys, so this is a grease gun, this whole piece right here. So I figured maybe a lot of you guys don't know how to use a grease gun, but there's this piece right here that you pull out, and then there's a notch right there. So you hold that there, and then you take this lid off, pull it, slide it in there. Hit it. Okay, now pull that off. And you pull this little tab off. Scrape it on there. Okay, I'll grab this piece. Twist it. Keep twisting it till it's nice and tight. Okay. Pull that. Let it in. Push it. Okay. Now start pumping it. Yeah, like that. Okay guys, so I was greasing this and the little grease nipple got stuck and I pulled it up a little too hard and it came off, but luckily this piece still here had enough thread, so I went ahead and re-threaded it in there and everything seems to be okay. I gave it three pumps, and I also did the piece in the front. So now I'm gonna plug it in and see if it'll start. Well, we went ahead and started it, but it does not start. You guys can hear it here. It's humming. So now I'm gonna test the capacitors that are inside here and see if that'll work. And if that doesn't work, I'm just trying to save some money. I don't want to buy another one. They're $600. We do have a company here in Denver, Colorado, that will rebuild them. So if push comes to shove, I'll just call them up and see what the cost would be to rebuild this motor. Well, here's the capacitors. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there seems to be moisture in here. So I'm not sure where all that came from, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean these up and see which one's the starter motor or the starter capacitor, and I'll go ahead and check it. I might have to check all of them, but go from there. I don't know if you guys can see all that moisture there. So maybe it'll just be as easy as getting a bunch of capacitors.